Hi, and welcome back. If you remember, I had mentioned there were three things that were kind of tough for computer systems to deal with because of the amount of data that they had to process to make happen. And one was grass, and one was hair or fur, and the third one was particle systems. Well, we've already seen what Unity can do with grass, but now we're going to take a look at what Unity does with particle systems. And again, while you can program in Unity, and we'll be getting into that fairly soon, there's an awful lot you can do just with the objects that are provided and the parameters you can set. And I think you'll find that's the case in particle systems as well. So let's get to it. So we'll start by opening Unity with our shortcut here. And if you have not done anything else in Unity in the meantime, it will open to our last project, which was the controllers in our terrain. So File, New Project, and again I like to put these things on the desktop, so New Folder, and I'm going to call this Unity_Particles, and if you're doing this for a class you might want to include your name, and there we are. So now we're going to create this. And we could add some packages, but we're going to do that later. So here we are. Brand new scene. We'll go to a perspective. There's the grid. And we're going to come in here and we're going to go Game Object, Create Other, Particle System. Right there. There it is, and our particles start generating immediately. We can zoom in and out. The little squares around there are just because the objects are selected. We do have the move tool here, and we can move these around just like any other object. You notice it doesn't move the existing particles. It just moves the creation point for new particles. Well, that's really what you want, because you want these to maybe be able to be used as the smoke coming off a rocket, or smoke from a locomotive, or who knows what, but you want them to act like real live emitted particles. So let's come in here. There's, again, we talked about there's parameters. There's all kinds of things we can do with these particles. So over here we've got our minimum and maximum size, both set to 0.1. Let's change this. Make the max size 0.5, so now some are coming in still that small size, and some are coming in at 5 times as big, and some are halfway in between, or any point in between. So that's that. Lots of different parameters here. We've got world velocity right now set to 0. Let's give it some in y, and that's going to make our particles move up. So now they're acting maybe a little bit more like smoke would, or other kinds of things. And you can set this to different values. You can give it values in other directions. We've also got colors here, because right now our particles are just this white. And that might be okay for smoke, but here, let's just change this. We're not trying to build anything in particular right now. We're just showing you how this works. So now the particles start out this red color. I'll move it back so you can see it a little more. And then they go to white, and they stay white. You can go in and select all kinds of different colors. So now here we'll grab a yellow. So now they go red to yellow to white. Pick something else, blue. Again, like I said, we're not trying to make this look like anything in particular. We're just exploring these parameters a little bit. And you've got 5 different colors you can set up here. You can make the particles grow over time. So now they're starting out at some size, but then they're growing, and that gives you a different looking effect. And it's just all kinds of things. And you might think of these things initially to be one kind of thing, but now growing this big, it looks like, well, maybe some sort of ghostly effect. Whatnot. So just lots of things you can do. Let's look at this through the camera. I'm going to zoom out. The camera is way away from this, so it's going to take a little while to get the camera lined up. There's actually some shortcuts that we'll talk about maybe later, but for now we're just going to do this the old-fashioned manual way. Move this in. Now we're not seeing it in the preview, which means we're probably, we're too low. So let's move this up. There we go. See it in the camera. And let's move a little closer. Okay. And grab a perspective, hold down the Alt key, left click and drag, move this around, and look in the game window, and there it is, and we can run this, and it generates, and you get a little better view here, but actually it was generating pretty well in the scene view. So that's that, and we'll come back to scene view, and again, the particle system here, there's all kinds of parameters that we can go through. We can explore, and with everything that's there and everything you could do with it, it would take you some time to actually come up with a convincing looking fire or smoke or explosion or whatnot. And if you had to, you could do that, but actually you don't have to do that.